Hello, this is Cece with WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and you are listening to Going Solo with Cece. And also we have the Author's Corner, Meet the Author. And tonight we're going to move right in because we have a great show for you. We have an author with us, and her name is Christine Walters. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Cece. I'm so excited.
I'm excited to have you. You have a great website, and it's called Reflections of What God Can Do. And you also have a terrific book out there, which is called Ginny and Me. So let's talk a little bit about your journey. How did you become an author, and how did you get into having the website that you've developed?
Sure. So I always knew that I wanted to write a book, even when I was a little girl. I don't want to make this to sound bad. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do it until my mother passed away, because she would have took my story the wrong way, because a lot of it had to do with our relationship. But I always knew that I was going to write a book about my life and some other books. When I was maybe around in the 4th grade, I started really writing more and on different topics and Halloween stories and a lot of fiction and nonfiction. And I would write poems and journals. So I was always writing and like poetry. Mm-hmm. When I got around 35 after my mother passed away, I had already started the book, but then I started putting a lot of pieces of it together, and I wanted to start a website, which, by the way, I will say was the most difficult thing I had to do, because I am not IT at all. So the website took me 3 weeks and crying, trying to get, because it's, a lot of it, I didn't have the money to pay no one to start the website. So I said, I have to do this, so I have to do it myself and figure it out. So thank God for Google. So I researched everything, read how to do it, and I started it, and then I deleted the whole thing. I didn't like it and started all over again. So now I'm a lot better at it than what I was.
Wonderful. Well, let's share with the audience the challenges that you had with your mother was that she had a mental illness. Am I correct?
Yes.
And you suffered from that, not realizing, when you were very young what the situation was. But as you started moving through your life, then you started realizing, oh, this is what's happening to my mother. This is what's going on with that. So share with us a little bit, if you don't mind, about that.
Sure. Growing up with my mom was very difficult. So her name is actually Virginia, but she had the personalities I was aware of were 4. She had more than that. And she didn't like to be called Virginia. So she wanted to be called Ginny, which was kind of another person in her mind. And growing up with her was just, I hate to say, a nightmare because of the mental illness part. She would just pick arguments, very abusive. I had a hard time trying to figure out what she was talking about, because she had a different personality at the time. And then there were a lot of hallucinations. So the main one that I experienced with her a lot was a baby face that she would happen to see a lot. And it would scare the death out of me, to tell you the truth, because this face she saw would run after her. And her running would run towards me, and I would hide underneath my bed and just cry and stuff. And then she would get upset and beat me and tell me I would have to tell her sorry and keep it a secret, because no one would understand that she has a mental illness. So those things were difficult, and the name calling, and there was a lot of physical abuse. There was some sexual abuse, just a lot of different things going on at home.
Well, I thought it was important to bring your story forward. And the reason being is so many people are going through a lot of great challenges, especially as they move through divorce and trying to redefine and restructure their lives. And so your childhood was extremely difficult, and you suffered abuse, and it probably went into your adult years, didn't it? It probably was some of that you incurred when you were a child, then developed scars and baggage, so to speak, into your personal life as you moved through into being an adult.
It did.
Yeah. And so what we want to do is we want to share with those that are going through or have been through some sort of abuse or any kind of living with someone with some sort of mental disabilities, that, you know, that there is help on the other side. There is, you know, light at the end of the tunnel. And even though you've been affected, and I know that you have, that you've struggled tremendously, you've really come out with in a mode to help people, to make them more aware of the situation and to give them a, you know, a helping hand along the way. So I commend you for that. So tell us a little bit about the website that you did develop.
Yeah, so it's called, first called authorchristinewalters.com. Now it's reflectionsofwhatgodcando.com. I share the back of the book, that's some information. Actually, to be all honest, I'm creating a new website right now that I'll be sharing in the next couple of weeks with just a few a lot of updates, quotes that I have wrote, and poems that I have not shared in Ginny and Me, and I'm placing them on the new website. Also, I want to start an extra page on the website that talks a little about what I'm going to be doing in 2017 with Reflections of What God Can Do workshop/conference. So with that being said, May is Mental Health Awareness, and my mother, she was born in Buffalo, New York, in the hospital that she stayed in from around, I want to say 5 or 6 years old to 26 years old, is placed in Buffalo, New York. So I'm trying to do the first conference there. That was already approved to do. And then one here in the DC area and another in Lee County, Florida, and in LA. So there are a lot of big goals that I'm trying to accomplish, which I feel that can get done. I was already working on this for some time now, and I'll talk more about in a blog that I started. And the blog actually is called Reflections of What God Can Do. The reason for it is that it's important to me that people realize and take aware of reflections of what God can do. Because this is not my doing. I feel this is God. He brought me a long way, and I leaned on Christ because I didn't even know if I was going to be able to make it. So doing that, I want people to see that if you are going through something and have a lot of difficulty, not to give up, not to try to want to kill yourself, not to just want to let everything go, to, you know, for me, God helped me. I know everyone is not religious, so I don't want to press the topic on God too much, but there's many different techniques that you can do to help yourself to be able to get through different things. And for me, that's what helped me, was leaning on Christ. It helped me a lot. And it gave me a lot of inspiration on that.
Yeah, I know that you really had a tremendous journey, and I know that we didn't share a lot about your mom, that she was in a mental hospital, facility for quite some time when she was young. But did she go into the psych ward when she was like 3 or 4 or something like that?
I believe it started around when she was 5 years old, and then she would come in and out, and then when it was around 8 or 9 years old, she stayed in until 26.
Okay, till 26, and then she got out.
Yes.
And then you were born, right? After she was out, or she?
Well, I think I was born. I was told I was born when she got out, but when I do the math, I feel like she probably conceived while she was in there.
Right, she was in there, and then, even though she was hospitalized, she still, as you said, she still continued with the mental illness, and then you suffered a great deal of abuse, trying to understand your life, trying to figure out what's going on here. Why is your mom so different than other moms, and how to deal with that. So, you turned towards your higher being, which is God, and that helped you to be able to move forward in your life. And so, I think it's a tremendous inspiration, and I hope that people will get your book and read your book, Ginny and Me, because there's so much we're leaving out. I mean, your journey is, you've suffered a great deal, but with that, you've really come into your own being, into your own, world. And Christine, you've done a great job. You're doing wonders for other people, helping people. So.
Thank you. it affected my adulthood a lot with communication. I got married very young, so I was 1 week away from turning 19 years old. And he was young also, but about 3 years older than me. And even though I got married young, I definitely know that from my childhood, the abuse that endured and everything did not help at all, because there was a lack of communication a lot on my end. You know, I will share that I had this thing where I didn't like to be touched a lot because of just a lot of the things that I suffered with my mom. Mm-hmm. So when you're in a marriage, you know, that's not going to work. So there was also just things on a level of control. For me, I had to take care of myself a lot. So my mom acted a lot like a little girl. And there was many times I missed school because I was taking care of her, or because she was lonely and she needed companionship. So, I mean, I was 5 years old, and I remember coming home kindergarten and cooking on the gas stove, burning my fingertips because one of the burners wouldn't light. So because I had a lot of this stuff, independency I was doing at such a young age, I kind of had a mindset of no one's going to tell me what to do. So that was hard in a marriage when you're trying to be two, you know. So there was a lot of arguments, and a lot of them are just about, and I know, on a control level. I didn't want to be told what to do. I took care of myself all the time. I'm not needy, but everyone needs something, you know, and not needy in a way if a couch needs to be moved.
Right.
Why didn't you wait for me to move the couch? And I don't need to wait for you to do anything. I could do everything myself, because I just had that attitude, which really was anger. And it was just angry with my past. And until I came to grips, when my mother passed away, I lost so many things at one time that I had to come to grips with myself. You can't help anyone else if you're not going to start working on you. So when I started working on myself and my anger and my core issues, that's when I began to heal and to become better.
That's such an important message. I mean, at any level of relationship loss or any level of trying to change ourselves, if we don't come to grips with ourselves, come to grips with, you know, what really makes us tick. And you have to touch on the past somewhat, but not live in the past. We have to touch on it, understand it, and understand how it shaped us. And I think for you to be able to even step into another relationship is, you know, strong, so strong, because coming from your mother, you know, abusing you and doing these things, then going into another relationship, you know, it took a lot of guts for you to be able to do that and move forward in your life. And your expectation level was probably, you know, so low that you know, maybe your marriage, you know, you didn't reach for the stars. You were just lucky to you not have somebody totally abusing you.
Yes. And, you know, I hear a lot of people say when I talk, well, not a lot. Some people I talk to that are divorced will comment on, I'm never getting divorced again because this and that happened. Now, a lot of things happen in my marriage as well. But for me, I mean, I'm excited about renewing and restarting a life. I am not involved with anyone. I'm not anyone. And those are my choices because I don't feel that I'm ready, and not ready in a way of being over someone, but ready in a way of, I'm married for 22 years. I feel a new life, new wellness, and I just want to, you know, live my life with this new, what I call my new life, and all the possibilities. And I don't want to go into any relationship yet if I don't feel I am 100% being able to give my all to that person. Right. But I definitely, I look forward to being remarried. I definitely want to be remarried. I'm not looking for anyone now, but when, you know, that time comes, I'm definitely open to it.
Yeah. You know, I guess it's called valuing yourself. And so you've put yourself first and trying to heal yourself from the pain that you've had in the past, but also, you know, get new abilities. Like you've learned how to do your website, you've taken on challenges, you've embraced them, you've written a book, for heaven's sakes. I mean, that in itself is huge. And I hear that you've got another book coming out. Huh?
I do. I didn't announce the title yet, so I won't say what the title is. I first want to say it is not a sequel to Ginny and Me, but it is a little bit of just about gathering thoughts, like a devotional. It helped me through while I was writing Ginny and Me and the aftermath of Ginny and Me.
Okay.
So, but it's not a sequel, and I do want to say that. It is more for the heart, mind, body, and soul on a level of that, and level of peace and tranquility.
That sounds marvelous, and I think it'll be very inspirational for everyone out there. So I'm looking forward to that book coming out. So what we're going to do is let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk about some tips that we can give people out there that are going through, maybe I hope not as trying of the time that you've had, but if they are going through some pitfalls in their lives and they need to try to develop themselves to bring themselves up, maybe you could give us some tips on how to be able to encourage yourself to be able to move forward and take that step into moving forward in your life. So this is Cece with Going Solo, and you are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and we're going to be right back. Okay, so let's bring it right back. We have with us Christine Walters, and Christine Walters is an author. First part of the show, we talked a lot about her journey. Her mother was in mental illness, suffered mental illness, was in a psych ward for most of her life. And when she came out, she gave birth to this beautiful woman sitting here. And this woman had to deal with a mother that had mental illness, that suffered tremendously from mental illness, and along the way also abuse and development and things like that. So that was our first part of the show. She did share some of that. She has a great book out. It's called Ginny and Me. And so if anyone is going through any kind of abuse or dealing with anyone that has mental illness, this would be a great book for you to be able to read, because here it is, when you have someone that you can connect with that's like-minded, that's gone through similar journeys, it's very encouraging for you to be able to read their story, read their journey, and to be able to move forward in your life. And so she also has a great website out. It's called Reflections of What God Can Do. And welcome back to the show, Christina. Christine. Okay. So your book is Ginny and Me, and your name is Christine Walters.
That's fine.
Okay, but welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Great. So I think let's talk a little bit about those that might be traveling in this difficult time. They're going through divorce. Some have, had abuse of some sort, and there's so many rams of abuse, so different scopes of it. There's physical abuse, mental abuse, there's financial abuse. There's a huge amount of that we never even talk about, which I hope that we can bring forward on our show. But there's all these different types of abuse that you go through. If someone's dealing with that, what are some of the things that you might have done or that you could share that would be uplifting for them?
Sure. Well, first, when I had to tell myself that I'm not going to stay in this spot anymore because it isn't going to help me. I had to give my own self-encouragement and not look for anyone else, because I'm looking at friends and family to give me encouragement, and they're going through their own problems. Sometimes when you're going through so much too, people sometimes don't want to hear all about it because it brings them down, and they need to distance themselves, not trying to be mean, but just because it's too much. One thing that helps is laughter, happiness. No matter what was going on, I forced myself. I didn't want to be happy, but I forced myself. Well, I remember one time something funny, I think it's funny that I did. I went to this park that's by my house, and I took a walk, and I saw a swing, and I sat on the swing, and I was swinging, and I started laughing, and then I started crying.
Oh.
But it felt so good. I felt like I was just carefree. And the last time I was on a swing, I had to be 8 years old. And, a lady was looking at me, and she was just smiling and laughing. And I waved to her, and I was just thinking, this feels so good right now, just to act like a kid sometimes, even though being a grown up. So that's one thing. I wonder if that was like releasing. You felt like you were releasing some stuff. Yeah. because it just felt so carefree.
Yeah.
Indifferent. Like, so that helped me. And also what I stopped doing was watching sad movies. I love Lifetime, but for a moment in my life, nothing sad to be on my television. Anything that makes me happy, cartoons, anything that brings a smile to my face, taking myself out, getting my nails done. Not, when you get down and depressed, you don't want to do anything already, but you have to force yourself to get up, and you have to give yourself some type of determination.
Right.
As the week goes on and days go, some more days, you start to feel better. And one thing I did, when people came over to see me, they thought I was crazy, because I'm not really big on notes and sticky notes, but I had 8x10 sheets of paper, and I had poems or sayings that I had written or that I seen, and I had them taped up all over my house.
That's great.
Bible scriptures, I had one taped up in the bathroom. I had one taped up over my bed. I needed to be in my view. So then when I'm feeling down, there were certain sayings or prayers I could immediately look at and read, and kept reading it. And I actually kept those up for about 2 years, to tell you the truth. And then I moved from one place to another, and I just felt like, wow, I could put these in a safe spot. I don't need these up anymore. That really helped me. A lot of I'm beautiful. I love me, even on those days I didn't feel like it. Because no matter what you're going through, like you said before, there's a lot of different forms of abuse, but abuse can bring you to a level of unworthiness, feeling so down. I mean, even a loss of a job, anything, you can't do nothing right. No one cares about me. I'm not appreciated. I'm taken for granted. And you keep having these negative statements in your thoughts. It will bring you almost suicidal, so you've got to do something to get you to a point that you can say to yourself, I am worth everything. I love me. I'm going to do better for me, because when you do better I thought once I do better for me, I can do better for my children.
Yeah.
Because I'm no good to anybody else if I can't get my own stuff together. As time went on, I started feeling better. I've never been big with exercise, and I hear a lot of people state that exercise is good, and it is good, but what was good for me was walking. I like to walk, and it cleared my mind. Sometimes I would even recite to myself the sayings I had up around already in the house, and I just stopped caring about what people had to say. And when I got divorced, it was really hard, because you lose friends, you gain new ones, people choose sides, and I cared, and I was like, oh, I don't care anymore. This is my life now, and I can either worry about what everyone else thinks about me, or I said I'm going to do something different. I'm someone where I'm always on the next big thing. So, and that's just how I am.
It sounded like you had like a mind shift, like
yes.
As you started to progress, you started doing little things, and you just kind of kept adding to that. The swing. That's was something so simple, but it brought a little joy back in your life, and brought you back to being young again, and just enjoying laughter. And so it's funny, because the simplest things, and you keep building from that, and that's exactly what you did. And you started shifting your mind from that negative space into that very positive. And awesome. That is totally awesome.
Thank you.
That's great. So tell us, anything else that you would like to share with our listeners?
Well, one of the things I would like to say is that when you're going through any type of a hard time, it's very, very important to either reach out to close friends that understand you, reach out for therapy, counseling. Some are very, all about counseling and don't want to share with someone else and open up. I think it's very important to do so. Sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger than it is a friend, because you can kind of say what you want to say, and you really don't care how they're going to look at you, and it gets it off your chest. So it's not a bad idea to have counseling, and it heals you. It also heals you all. So those are some other things that you can do. And
yeah, I'm a firm believer in that.
And also tell your story, write your book.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has a story to tell, and I'm really big on that because you never know who else's story can actually help someone. I've been in the grocery store so many times, and I'm very friendly, and I'm a people person. So I just start talking to people. People just start talking to me, and I'm really amazed how so many people are willing to open up and share something so little that even has affected my life, or I share something and it affects someone else. We don't realize sometimes that our words are important, and what you say and sharing your story could just mean so much. We think that, oh, my story's not important, or I have such a little thing. If it was big for you, it's a big story.
Absolutely.
Not little.
Yeah, it's paying it forward, really, and by sharing your story. Now, if someone wanted to start sharing your story, how would you suggest they go about doing it? When they want, did you start just writing it, or did you write a journal, or how was you able to combine all your information and start your story?
Sure. Well, once I had to get over the big thing where I'd be private. So, if you're someone who, I don't like anyone in my business, I want to be private, I don't want to tell anyone my business, you're going to have to open up the shell a little bit, because telling your story means that you need to be transparent. So I like to write things down. I write prayers, and, so I took a lot of those things and put them together. And then I just started writing. I actually took my cell phone, and if I'm in my car, I work a long way. So something comes to my head, and I just say it on my phone, and use my speak to text to my email, and just start adding them all together in a book.
It's a great idea. Yeah, that's great advice.
I didn't focus so much on how many chapters, the title of the chapters, and stuff like that. I just focused on just writing it. You just need to write it. And then after you write it, there's a lot of reading over and over again. Editing is the last part you really want to worry about. You just want to write down everything, and then it's easier to put things together.
That's very good. I know that there's editors out there too, that if you, if you can just get it down on paper, then someone can help you kind of, edit it a little bit. And so that's great advice to be able to use your phone. I never even thought about that.
Thank you. I shared, actually, in the book, I shared not a lot, but just a few topics of things that I would feel that was very embarrassing, just to give the audience something to say that, wow, you went through this, then I know that I can share my story too, and I can share something of a secret that I didn't want anybody to know, because I thought that was important to do. I just didn't want to write a book and here's another story of a dark coming out of the light. I wanted to just share some topics that no one will know about unless I told you.
Well, this also gives us an awareness, because, your mother suffered from mental illness, which is a disease. I mean, she suffered from this, and in her own defense, she was born with this. It's not something that she, meant to do or was, So, but it makes us aware that there are other people out there that are going through these challenges, and then they have children such as yourself that are normal, that are fine, but they're having to deal with some of those things. And it makes us aware that we need to, as individuals, give a handout to help, move you through and help move you to another place to look beyond and to create a life for yourself. So, I hope that everyone that's listening does do something to pay it forward. I think it's great. Yeah. So show us your book now, so everyone can see what the cover looks like, so when they want to order it. And how do we find your book? It's called Ginny and Me.
Yes, Ginny and Me.
Now that's your mother, right?
Right here. Ginny and Me, Reflections of What God Can Do. Okay. So it's out. It's at a lot of places, so you can find it anywhere. Actually, it's at Walmart. Walmart actually just picked it up a couple months ago, so that was really great. It's at Barnes and Nobles, Books a Millions, sold online. You can go to the publisher is at Author House. So if you go straight to authorhouse.com, you can publish it. You could just it's quicker actually if you do that, or go to any one of the places I just named. It's in Focus of Women magazine. Did a publication actually that was very amazing last year. It's actually in the UK, in Canada.
Wow, it's great.
Yeah, so a lot of the bookstores, you can find it anywhere. And if you just, you can go to my website. Actually, the new website I'm going to do, I'm taking down some links because it's just too many, too crammed.
Mm-hmm.
But what's up right now, if you hit the book tab, you have many selections from ebook to the softcover, to in many different formats. iPhone, if you don't have an iPhone, you could do it through Android, any way you want it.
Okay.
So I'm actually trying to do this version in an audio version as well.
Oh, that's great. That's super. Now, if we want to connect with you on social media, can we connect with you are you on Facebook?
I am.
Okay, you're on Facebook, and I know you're on LinkedIn.
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter are the main social media sites.
Right. So connect with her, and I think if there's nothing better than having like-minded individuals, people that have gone through similar things that what you've gone through, or some sort of abuse, connecting with you and being able to get that, that being so uplifted. I mean, it's just what we need to do for each other. So I think it's really great. So I appreciate you coming on the show here tonight with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Great. Well, we're going to have to close out the show. Is there any last words that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yes. Forgiveness. So I do want to say that it is very important, and it is a step towards healing to forgive. And I advocate a lot for the unforgivable, because a lot of things are done to us that we feel are unforgiving to forgive. But as we all know, forgiveness does not help the other person. It helps us. I love my mother dearly, and she didn't ask to have a mental illness, and I didn't ask to want to be abused. So there's two sides of it. But I found a lot of forgiveness for her, and even for my ex-husband, and anyone that I had an issue with, who I felt had done me wrong. I forgave all of them, and that's when I actually started taking a better journey for myself of healing. And being able to open up more with love and peace.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to be able to give to other people. And, again, you gain 100-fold when you do that. So it's wonderful having you on the show, Christine. I so appreciate it. But this is Christine Walters, and you are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We were showcasing Going Solo with Cece, and also the Author's Corner, Meet the Author. So please, you all go out and buy her book, which is Ginny and Me, Reflections of What God Can Do. And her website is that. She's also going to be making a new website so you can connect with her a little bit easier. So get with her on LinkedIn and Facebook and all the other social media platforms, and start building a network that you guys can kind of be attached to. It's nothing better than having a community of people that are like-minded, that are helping each other. So that's really what we want to do tonight. So thank you again for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.